In this video, we're back on the sofa for Sofa Sessions 2.0, episode number 2. Stay tuned. Hey there, folks, and welcome back for another sofa session. I really appreciate you joining me. Here's to you. Thanks so much for joining me. Again, I really appreciate it. And we're going to start out with something that's a little tough. Look, I don't know Smilez for Miles personally. He is a artisanal brush maker. Yesterday, El Chingon, Marcos, reached out to me for help to put out the word on a fundraiser. Smilez's father passed away. He had been caring for his father for an extended period of time, and they need help with funeral expenses. So I'm going to post a link to the fundraiser below. Again, I don't know Smilez personally, but Marcos reached out to me, and when someone reaches out, when the brother reaches out, you got to help him out. And it would be nice if you know Smilez, or maybe you've bought a brush for Smilez, or if you just want to help out, the link will be posted below. Whatever you could contribute would be greatly appreciated, and thank you very much for that. On to the next subject. Let's take a little drink before. Again, here's to you. So lately, we've been hearing a lot of discussion about packages in the post office and things not getting to people expeditiously. And what I want to encourage everyone to do is, when you order something from a shaving vendor, please check your tracking. If the tracking says the package is in the hands of the post office, do not complain to the shaving vendor, because there's nothing they can do. They cannot influence the post office. No one can influence the post office, believe me. It's one of those things where they are very far behind, evidently. I've had packages that were sent in priority mail, which is 2 or 3 day normally. At the end of November, they have still not arrived. I've had packages from UPS that were sent 2 days ago, and they have arrived. And so, to show you the difference there, there's nothing that the shave vendor can do if the package has been put in the hands of the post office and it's stuck somewhere in distribution or whatever. So you'll have to let that play out, and then maybe if it doesn't get to you, readdress it with the vendor. But things are pretty rough right now. Despite the increase that was put in place, the post office raised the rates on October 27th, and they cited increased demand and the Rona, and they were needing additional staff and so on to deal with the increased demand. And that was supposed to be in effect from October, I wrote it down, some point in October to December 27th. It went into effect October 18th, and was supposed to end December 27th. And I will say, since that increase has gone into effect, it has only gotten worse. If it was bad before, it's worse now. So that money, that increase, has made no difference in the effectiveness, as far as we can tell, the customer of the post office. In fact, it has gotten worse. So if money is supposed to be the answer, it wasn't post office. All right. Now, one thing I want to say is, there are many, many great people who work at the post office. I like my mail carrier. It's not his fault. Look, stuff is stuck all over the place. They are having high demand. But once again, we would expect high demand around Christmas, and that's kind of the reason they raised the rate. And we're not seeing a return on our investment. It is a little bit irritating. But what I'm really trying to get across is, don't hassle the shaving vendor. Now, if you look at your tracking and the shaving vendor has never gotten the item to the post office, then you can complain to them. But if it's been 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's in the hands of the post office, there's really nothing the shaving vendor can do. So I just want to appeal to you to be patient with the vendors. If you want to complain to somebody, complain to the post office. But I'm just going to tell you now, you'll have about as much success complaining to the post office as if you went outside and started an argument with a cloud and said, I don't like you, you're gray, or you're whatever. It's going to make no difference whatsoever, most likely. I'm just telling you. Believe me, I've had issues where the post office were demonstrably wrong and nothing happens. There kind of isn't any accountability, and that's just the way it is. And that is no slight on the great postal workers out there. Like I said before, it's just organizationally, sometimes it's just like there doesn't seem to be a lot of accountability. There's nothing we can do about it. They are the cheapest service to ship with, although their rates keep going up. This rate increase, again, stops December 27th. Now, but here's the thing. There's another rate increase that will go into effect the 24th of January, I believe. So the post office gives us like almost a month of break before they raise the rates again. So they're going to take the current increase off, but then they're going to put one back on in January. So go figure. It's one of those things that I know is annoying for people because you want to get your gear prior to the holidays and you want your holiday packages to get where they're going, but there's just nothing you can do really. It's up to the post office. Hopefully they'll redouble their efforts and get this stuff out, but it's just not going very well, to be honest. Now, let's get off the post office. Honestly, I could come back on here every sofa session and have stories about the post office. I always have stories. Now, there are some people who never have problems. You should play the lottery. If you haven't had any issue ever with the post office, go play the lottery. You're lucky. You're lucky. Okay, next topic. I was asked by a gentleman the other day to sort of rank soaps by based on performance, and I do not do that. And let me explain the reason why I don't do it. When it comes to soap performance, a lot of the qualities that people often point to in the upper class bases, they'll point to characteristics which cannot be objectively measured. They just cannot. They'll point to slickness. You can't objectively measure that. They'll point to post-shave. You can't objectively measure that. They'll point to protection, cushion. You really cannot objectively measure any of those things. And so for me to sort of rank soaps based on characteristics that really cannot objectively be measured is just not something I'm all that interested in. The truth is, soaps have been good for a long time now. Even the soaps of 10 years ago were more than adequate to provide for an excellent shave. If you have great technique, or if you even have good technique, chances are you can use most things as long as they don't irritate your skin. Now, I do make caveats for people with special skin conditions that maybe need certain agreements. That's always going to be the case. I'm using just average user sort of case where they're not particularly sensitive. They don't have very particular needs. For the majority of people, most of the soaps probably will work. So to me, it's sort of a futile effort to come out here and go, Kaizen 2 is number 1, and Excelsior or Milk Steak is number 2, because really when you put those soaps together, they are so good that it's really hard sometimes to really get much difference out of them. Now, when you know what they are, you're already coming into that review, so to speak, with preconceived notions. So if you've heard that Kaizen 2 is the greatest of all time, many, many, many times over, when you get it, your expectation is that it's going to be good, and it is good. I mean, it really is. But there's always some level of confirmation bias in there. If you already sort of been led to believe it, you probably will believe it. What can objectively be proved? That's really, really difficult when it comes to slickness, cushion, post-shave, especially if you're someone who's using post-shave products. So I'm not really in the business of rating soaps based on performance. I can absolutely rate them based on cost and other more objective measurements. But when it comes to performance, it's hard to get a bad soap, and that is the truth. I can go in there right now and get a soap 10 years old and get an absolutely superb shave out of it following my normal routine. I don't have to do anything special. It just is what it is. Are the soaps of today better? Sure. I think you can appreciate the quality of the lather, the density. It feels better. It gives you maybe a more luxurious experience. But when it comes to the actual mechanics of the shave, providing that slickness and all that stuff, really, it's really hard to objectively measure. And that's why I don't really rate soap bases. You can go and look at scores from Rudd's. You can go to many people who rate these things. I just don't find there's any objective way for me to say Kaizen 2 or Milk Steak or whatever is a particular score and this is not. Just for me, I can't do that. I am not by any means criticizing those who do, because that is their thing. I can't do it myself. I don't find it to be objective, and I'm not going to do that sort of thing. I will certainly say the Kaizen 2 is good and is often referred to as one of the best bases, or PAACK6 is often referred to as one of the best vegan bases. I will do that because that's sort of a consensus sort of point of view, but I can't hang my hat on any objective measures to prove it, which is why I don't do that sort of thing. And I'm just explaining that. And I hope that, I hope you'll understand that. Finally today, we hit the 5,000 on the IAMCDB channel. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is not my first shaving channel. The first shaving channel that I ever had was TSC, the Shaving Evangelist. I will link that channel below. It was rebranded as iLather. And anyway, at some point, I decided to rebrand and just IAMCDB, and those are my initial CDB. I just wanted to actually have my name, my face, and it be not some sort of name that wasn't me, and that's why I did it. But anyway, the old channel has, I think, 8,000 some subscribers, and the new channel hit 5,000 recently, and I said when I hit 5,000, I would do a giveaway, and I am going to do that. It will be the beginning of the year, because I just don't have time right now to do it, and I'm going to make sure that I have several different prizes. I know I already have at least 4 sets of gear, and so they're going to be really good prizes. We'll draw for those at the beginning of the new year, and we will get those on their way. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, I ask you to do so below. Half of the people that watch the videos aren't subscribed. So if you don't have an account with YouTube or Google, create an account, subscribe, and when you subscribe, that content will be there for you. To the people that you're watching will be there and handy for you. That's the purpose of subscribing. So for those of you who have, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Excuse me, tongue twisted. For those of you who have not, I invite you to do so. By the way, here's to you both. Regardless as to whether you are subscribed or not, I do really appreciate it. Now, keep in mind, when we do the drawing for the 5,000 fundraiser, or excuse me, not fundraiser, 5,000 sub giveaway, you must be subscribed. So, if for no other reason than for the giveaway, subscribe. But I hope you'll subscribe because you want to see the content. I do put a lot of effort into it. I have done it for many years. I don't plan on stopping. God willing, I'll be doing this 5 years from now. Many people will be gone. I will be here if God is willing. So let's hope that he is. I thank you for everything. Thanks for watching. And please, once again, if you can help Smilez out, I would appreciate it. Again, I don't know him personally, and normally I would not do this sort of thing. But since people like Marion know him and Marcos, I'm going to ask you to do that. If you can, I do understand it's Christmas. It's tight. If you can't, just help spread the word. We would appreciate that. I want to thank you very, very much for all the views, for all the time that you spend with me. I really appreciate it. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB, and I'm reminding you, sure shave, do it your way, and as always, God bless.